Alright, what's going on, guys? We've been talking about Elden Ring DLC for quite a while now. It's one of those things that is probably gonna happen. Everybody's kind of in agreement that this is something that we will see. It's not really a question of if, but rather what kind of DLC. And we found some really good hints as to what that could be, but to further reinforce that question of if, we do have some more evidence that we're going to dive into today. Now we're starting to get to that time of year where video game companies are putting out their investors reports to showcase their performance for the year and educate the investors on their outlooks and plans for the next fiscal year. And this is an absolutely golden time to dig into the new info and speculate about what they could be planning. Now, to keep in mind, these things are not written for us, the public. These investors reports go out to the shareholders and discuss all facets of revenue for the parent company. Now, the one we're going to look at today is not FromSoftware's. Today, we're going to be diving into Kadokawa as their parent company. And I know we got a lot of new people here that aren't experienced with how FromSoftware works, so let me break it down for you. FromSoftware as a gaming studio is owned by a parent company called Kadokawa, and FromSoftware is only one of many of all the different revenue streams that make up their profits. However, even though their investors reports contain everything that goes on in their business, it's still a great tool to figure out where FromSoftware is and what they're planning on doing for the future. So let's break it down. I don't think it's a secret to anyone that Elden Ring has been the most successful FromSoftware game ever. Everybody's talking about it, everybody's playing it, but now we have the data of just how well it's done. In just over a month, Elden Ring has sold over 13.4 million copies, making it by a huge margin the most successful month FromSoftware has ever had, leading to a net sales increase of 17.2% for the fiscal year. And just to put that into context with the past FromSoftware releases, it took Dark Souls 3 over 4 years to reach only 10 million sales. And it makes Elden Ring the fastest selling title from a Japanese studio other than Nintendo. So if you don't think this sent a message to Kadokawa and FromSoftware that they need to make more Elden Ring content, then I don't know what to tell you. They were probably throwing a party over there. No, I promise we'll get to the line that has me excited about DLC, but there are a few more points I want to talk about in this. In games for PCs and consoles, the company will leverage the brand power derived from its record-breaking new hit Elden Ring, and its strong development capability in efforts to produce its next major title, whilst at the same time continuing to engage in the group original development of series titles and contract development for other companies. Now, a line right there confirms something that we kind of already knew, but it is interesting to hear from their own mouth, that they've already been underway on the next major title, which really is no surprise because they typically work on 2 to 3 at the same time. But that last line there really did pique my interest. Continue to engage in the group original development of series titles and contract development for other companies. Now, there is the possibility that they're referencing other studios under their umbrella, however they don't actually specify another subject in that sentence when they were just talking about FromSoftware. And so I don't know about you guys, this may just be my speculation side, but I'm not gonna lie, my mind instantly went to that Blue Point Bloodborne rumor. That would be a series title being contracted out to another developer. And for those of y'all that haven't been keeping up with that, a while back some very prominent sources over at PlayStation said they had been hearing a rumor that Blue Point Games, the company that made the Demon's Souls remake for PS5, were busy working on a Bloodborne project. Now, it's been a while since we heard anything about that, but this does sound fishy nonetheless. Now, to get to the real reason you clicked on this video, there's a line in that investors report that all but confirms DLC for me, and it's in their presentation in the frequently asked questions section. And I find it interesting that almost all of the questions were about Elden Ring, so that tells you just how much of a message was sent to the parent company. But the question in question is, what is the forecast sales and copies shipped for Elden Ring for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2023? And the answer was, we do not disclose forecasts regarding sales and number of copies shipped for individual titles. We are considering a number of measures to help customers continue to enjoy this title. So notice how they didn't shift the focus onto previous games, but instead chose to keep it on the fact that Elden Ring sales are going to continue for the next year. And everybody knows, even FromSoftware knows, that the best way to generate revenue for the game and create more first-time purchases for the game is through paid DLC. Now, the part about all of this that does have people a little bit confused is that Elden Ring did not ship with a season pass. And I really don't think that's anything to worry about, but I do think it's a good measure that maybe DLC wasn't
initially planned. But again, I think it's more likely that it was planned and they just didn't want to put a cap or number exactly on what they wanted to do. But if DLC is in fact coming, then when could we start to see advertisements for it? Well, Summer Games Fest is coming up really soon on June 9th, and Elden Ring is one of the first things advertised in the trailer. Now, I would very much hesitate to say that we are definitely going to see Elden Ring DLC at Summer Games Fest, but it is still a possibility nonetheless. For those of y'all that don't know, FromSoftware tends to work on an annual basis, releasing some form of content at least once a year. But things changed after Sekiro once they were working on Elden Ring, which I mean is understandable because the game was huge. But Elden Ring did not release in their standard springtime, around March and April, so I really don't think it's worth much to look at their release history in past schedules. But I think to expect a DLC trailer at Summer Games Fest might be a bit of a leap, but we're just gonna have to wait and see on that one. Now, some form of extra content that I know for a fact is going to be coming at some point is a PvP arena. I mean, this is something that absolutely has to happen. If they want people to keep enjoying this game for a longer time, then this is the first step. And I would go ahead and take that a step further. If they want the player base to stay alive and healthy, then we could really use a ranking system to go along with that PvP arena. So it's really interesting that such a ranking system was just discovered in the game files. These prompts were recently discovered, showing rank advances for Bloody Fingers, Hunters, Recusants, Duelist, and Furled Fingers. Now, it is unclear if this is cut content or if this was recently added, but I really don't see a reason why this would be cut. But what is very interesting about this is that these are not Covenant ranks. These are ranks for an online system. As you can see, you have 4 different PvP ranking systems and 1 for co-op, and I think this is something that the game desperately needs. I mean, PvP is fun and I love it, but after a while you start to realize that you're not really getting anything for your effort, and an online ranking and leaderboard would definitely fix that. Now, do I think a PvP arena is going to be coming in a paid DLC? In my opinion, no, I don't. What I could totally see them doing is announcing a free update at Summer Games Fest that brings in the arenas and ranking system. If I had to put money on it, that's where my money would go. What does have me slightly worried, however, is that we really have no big hints in the way of a full expansion. There's lots of story that went unexplored in Elden Ring, and while I really hope that we get some form of new expansion, some new area to explore, lots of new bosses, and lots of story, I would really hesitate to say we see that anytime soon. We very well could, and I do think that's going to happen at some point, but I'm not going to say that's a for sure 2022 release. PvP system I definitely think is coming this year. Full paid Ring City style DLC, I don't know about that one. Either way though, I am excited for Summer Games Fest. I am going to be watching that, and now is the time to kind of put your nose to the ground and be looking out for leaks and possible hints at what kind of DLC we could be getting in the future. But you guys already know I'm going to have you covered on all of that, and I'm not going to lie, I kind of miss looking out for all this news. It's fun to have something to hunt for again, and if you want to stay up to date on all the latest Elden Ring news, definitely hit that subscribe button down below. But with all of that, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like on it, and I'll catch you in the next one.